Okay, here we go. So today, a super special day, the first day of the equinox, the autumn equinox. It's been a very powerful day for me. How is everybody doing? Welcome to the group. Welcome to this first training series of the Decorating for Your Feminine Archetype series. I'm so excited about this project that creativity just brought my way and the goddess brought my way, and it's a little bit out of the normal about it's a little bit out of the normal decorating trainings that I have done. It's a little bit more mystical and a little bit more, I don't know, it's just a little bit out of the box for your common decorating training. So I'm excited about it because it's something I've been working with for many years, and it's something that shows up more and more in my world as I work with all these amazing women in just my work as clients, and as I spent time getting to know them, and as I also have the strength and the determination to help them go beyond what it is that they're trying to achieve within their homes, right? And so if it's your first time in this group, welcome. My name is Paula Agudelo, and I'm all about helping women create sacred homes and design sacred homes. And I strongly believe that that is an inside job. I believe in design as this inner design that needs to happen first, and then our exterior follows. So when we decorate and when we design our homes, they really are only a reflection of our inner world. And so I work mainly with women. I'm super glad that you're here. If you're watching, please say hi, although I'm using this live video with the slideshow in it. I don't know exactly how I can see your comments, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. So say hello if you are here. Say hello if you're watching the replay, because that also lets me know that you're interested in these kinds of trainings and that you're engaged with what we are learning about. And if you're on my mailing list, you will also receive the replay of all of these videos so that you can have access to them. You can share them with your friends. You can invite them to join us in the group and all of that good stuff. So like I was saying when I first started, this first day of the fall equinox has already been extremely powerful for me. Today is a day that I have really taken the time to just rest and reflect on all these archetypes that I'm sharing about with you today, because they all have shown up in my life for many reasons in the last few years, and they're always almost constantly looking for validation, I guess, from my side. And so without going too much out of what we're sharing today, this day for me has been about bringing light into all those parts of me as a woman that I have not been paying attention to. It's all these almost parts of me that I've ignored, and that when ignored, the feminine becomes destructive. The feminine wants attention. She wants to be seen. She wants to be loved. She wants to be ravished, no matter where you're at in your journey of life. And so when there's a part of us that is trying to get that love and attention and it's ignored, a lot of destruction can happen. And so I'm seeing that in my own life at the current moment, and I'm diving right into it. So that's my vulnerable sharing moment of the day. But I want to go ahead and get started with our training because I have a lot to cover, and I want to make sure that that I get through it. Okay, so today is the first day, the first series. Next week we're going to go even deeper into other types of archetypes, and then on our last day, on our last week, on October 6th, we're also going to have Stephanie Pierre joining us, and she is going to blow your mind. She's amazing, she's inspiring, she just awakens this fire by just being on camera. She's gorgeous, and I'm really, really excited that she will share her gifts with all of us here, and that you'll get a sneak peek into a much more mystical and exciting world. So I'm gonna get started so that you can understand what it is that we are talking about today. So what are these archetypes? Because I know a lot of you might be wondering. And by the way, I'm huge on not being a perfectionist about these presentations, so you're gonna see a lot of typos. Just acknowledge them if they bother you, or ignore them if they don't. Up to you. But I always like to say that because all of my beautiful perfectionist friends and clients out there get really, really anxious about that. So that being said, these archetypes are essentially unique aspects of ourselves. They're aspects of ourselves that want to be expressed, right? They're aspects of our feminine energy that want to be expressed. These archetypes that we are going to really dip our toes in, because this is a profound subject. There are layers and layers and layers of depth about them, and I feel like they're just a very dynamic framework to use in our lives as we grow as women. But mainly, there are 7 archetypes that prevail in our modern society, and this is according to psychiatrist, psychologist Carl Jung. And these archetypes are something that I really love to pay attention to because I mostly work with women. So there's almost a telling sign as I meet someone for the first time, and I almost can see what their predominant archetype is just by the way that they are dressed, or oftentimes by the way that they by the pictures they share with me for inspirational pictures when they want to start their design process, their Pinterest boards, etc. But what's really fascinating to me is that most of the times when I first go into their homes, their home is not a reflection of that, right? Their home is not yet a reflection of what they want to show the world they are, or who they know in their depths of their souls they are. And so it's kind of a no-brainer to me that our homes should be that example and should be that full expression of who we are, because that's our sacred temple. That's where we live. That's where we cry. It's where we have sex, where we make love. A lot of us have our children at home. It's where we cry, where we nourish ourselves by having meals together. So the home in its root is our ancient temple, right? It's our sacred temple. And so to me, helping women match who they are and their external spaces, their homes, their rooms, their offices, is such a powerful opportunity for them to just embrace more of who they are. So there are many, many ways in which feminine energy is expressed. And going just around the topic of feminine energy, we can go really deep. With my yogic background, there's a lot to be said about the feminine, but for the sake of time, we're not gonna go there right now. These archetypes that I'm about to mention are basically patterns of behavior and traits of our personality that are often things we don't know about, that we're not fully aware of, that are often unconscious, and that they influence the way we act and the way we live our lives. They influence what we want, the people that we attract into our lives, the way our relationships play out. They're really these just powerful forces of inner expression And the most powerful thing to know is to have a level and a space of self-awareness, right? That's where the magic of growth and success in life comes from, is because we are so aware of who we are that we're able to constantly keep ourselves in check and constantly redesign ourselves. So that's really, on a foundational level, what this big picture of archetypes is all about. So what I have learned throughout these years of working with these archetypes is that in order to experience a balanced and fulfilling way of life as women, we need to be able to connect to all parts of us, meaning parts of all of these archetypes. There's a little bit of all of them within us, and it's our job to figure out, which of these archetypes dominate our lives, whether we are aware of it or not. And this capacity of self-awareness determines, like I mentioned before, the success of our relationships, of our health, of our wealth, of our dreams, of our mothering. Everything really is an expression of our inner world, right? And so that's part of what I wanted to start by, so that you really can get a sense of what we're working with. And this quote I really liked: "There really is a feminine nature to be celebrated and not reasoned away." And this is by Carl Jung, like I mentioned before. And to me, this is it. This is about us celebrating who we are as women, as mothers, as lovers, for us to not shut out all those parts of us that want to come out, that want to shine, that have gifts to share. There's so much to be said in the world right now about how far women have gone, and there's still so much work done. We're seeing that in so many aspects of the earth and the world and the way the government is, and there's so many layers and layers and layers of confirmation that what needs to happen right now. And I know I'm going a little deeper than my normal decorating trainings here, but there's really something to be said about the healing that needs to happen in the feminine aspect of our lives and of our world. Literally, the mother, the woman, the lover, all these parts of us as the feminine is what needs to be healed more and more and more if we want to heal the world, if we want to leave a better legacy for our children, for our grandchildren, right? That's, in the biggest picture, the work that we are all doing here, whether we are aware of it or not. And so because I'm extremely passionate about that, and I am super grateful and blessed to be able to merge that into this very fun aspect of the earth living, of the worldly living, which is things, material things, offices, rooms, bedrooms, living rooms, decorating within your home. Why not, right? Why not? Like I said, if this is our temple and this is our sacred space, this is the space where we get to really shine bright with who we really are. So that's what I wrote here. It's time we get to be who we are meant to be and not to hide behind who we think we should be. So this is super important for me because this is part of the transformation that I love guiding my clients through and coaching my clients through. And if you've been through my Sacred Interiors Academy, you know that the deep transformation, the deep design that we create for your sacred home starts with the deep transformation you choose to go through within yourself. That's the beginning of it. This is about designing from the inside out. There's no catalog or retail therapy that will make your home a sacred space. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what great taste you might have and what a great style. I don't even care what a fancy, well-known interior designer you might hire to do your house. If there is no soul, if there's no expression, if there's no personality, if there's no confidence of who you are, it just won't ever feel like a sacred space. It might look really good to the naked eye, but there's a sense of heart that will be missing. And I know that as a woman, as a mother, as a householder, our love, reflecting and expressing our love in our everyday tasks, is really where the magic happens. Is in those simple moments that life really happens, and the way that we get to hang out with our children in our room and sit and cuddle on the sofa to read a book and laugh and watch a movie together. Like, those are the moments that the heart remembers. None of the fancy Disney World trips or even vacations do we rarely remember. It's usually the day to day at home that builds all those memories for us and for our little ones, for our grandchildren. And it's also the space where we get to heal. Like, now that you're grown up and you have your home and you have your own space, it also becomes an opportunity for us to reparent ourselves and really nourish and take care of ourselves in ways that maybe we were not brought up with. So again, deep places I can go into recognizing how sacred the home is and how powerful it is, but I'm gonna move forward so we can get into the fun of it. So these archetypes that I'm mentioning, those 7 main ones we're working with, are just like design styles, right? Those styles that you know well: traditional design, contemporary, modern, etc. And they come from mythology and ancient experiences. They come from history, from our human existence, and embodying those qualities that we want from all of these archetypes in a practical way helps us focus on what we want to attract. Becoming aware of those qualities and magnifying those that we want the most is how we channel our energy to get more of what we want in our lives. So let's just jump right into exploring some of the strengths of each archetype, and we're also going to go into very visual ways that you can express those qualities. And then later on, as we move through these 3-week series, we'll also go into the weaknesses and the dark side of these archetypes. I think that would be something really cool for Stephanie to touch base on, because there's so much of that subconscious archetype that is managing our lives, and we need to bring light to that. So these 7 main archetypes are what we are going to work with. And I gave you these visuals because, again, sometimes all you need to do is like see someone, and this isn't to be shallow or judgmental at all, but just to see the qualities and the elements that adorn people, adorn women, how they dress themselves, how they show up in the world, right? I know for me, it's clear to me that there's so many of these archetypes, if not all of them, that show up in my life because I go back and forth with all different aspects of each, right? I can get really dressed up and really dolled up and really just go to town with like luxury pieces. And then, I could also just be in like my hippie pants and like my tie-dye t-shirts with my hair up and wear no makeup for months. So it's kind of cool to just know yourself in that way and really embrace yourself with how you feel and going with the flow. That's the magic of being in the feminine, and it's the magic of being a woman, is that we change like the moon every 2.5 days, and there is no linear way of being for us. We're all about that variety that the masculine wants so much. And again, I get really excited about this topic. So these 7 main archetypes: the maiden, the queen, the mystic, the huntress, the mother, the sage, and the lover. And I just want you to take a minute to really look at the pictures of each one and read the name: maiden, queen, mystic, sage, mother, huntress, lover, and just look at the qualities these women embody. I mean, it's like the label itself just suits their presence so well. And so we're gonna go into some of these archetypes and what the possibility of interiors and decorating with these archetypes can look like. And I had so much fun working as I was doing this. I spent probably more time than I needed creating this slideshow because there's just so much juice to it. There's just so many possibilities. And I pride myself as a designer in honoring and loving all styles of design. You know, a lot of times you'll see designers that focus on only one style. They're only modern or contemporary, or their specialty is mid-century modern or traditional, transitional, whatever it is. For me, the magic is in being able to love and appreciate all style, all flavors, all color palettes, all materials, all shapes and forms, just like women. It's time that people learn to really love all these different body types and these different personality types and these different ways that women show up as women. There's no one cookie cutter way. And that's the freedom of exploring these archetypes and going deep into healing with these archetypes, is that you get to just be you and not care about what anyone else thinks. And that's exactly what I love when I get to teach my clients how to design their own houses. I love designing their homes for them. Obviously, I love doing that. But I honestly have to say that I love even more teaching them the basic elements and the basic principles, and then let them sort of just take on from there, because they really fully go to town in expressing themselves with their decorating. And it becomes like a ritual of self-affirmation. Decorating is so therapeutic. It's not just about spending money. It's not just about some weekend makeover. It's about setting those intentions and creating like an altar, like a real sacred celebration of what it is that you are celebrating in your home and your life, but also what it is that you want. So the lover has this, you know, as you can see, the lover has this like magnetic, attractive, seductive side to her, right? She's powerful, she's unapologetic, she's passionate, she's fiery. And if you look at these interiors, you can see, like, can't you see this woman living in that space, in those spaces? Like, I can so see this being her home. And so the qualities of her as a lover is that she's captivating, she's sensual, she's a creator, she's magnetic, she's passionate, she's empowered. So in those aspects, and like I mentioned before, there are other aspects of each of these archetypes that are, you know, their weaknesses, right? And they're sort of they're less than strong suits, and they are usually parts that need more balance in our life. And so again, we can dive into that later on as we move forward with the training. But for now, I want to give you a real visual of what these spaces look like. And I want you to be able to see these spaces with, you know, just appreciating certain elements. Whenever we see images that are inspiring for design, we're not really meant to just copy the design exactly as it is. It's meant to give us inspirational material. It's meant to give us little cues and signs of things that make our heart just fired up, that make our heart just excited about it. And so if you look at some of the elements of decoration and design in this room, you'll see that the lover archetype has a tendency, or more than just a tendency, has an opportunity to express herself through these elements. So decorating with velvet, which feels like luxurious and erotic, decorating with leather, which is also that like powerful feeling that it gives, or that it sort of evokes. Using gold accents, gold metals in your mirrors, gold for your lamps, your side tables. Notice how the legs in some of these pieces here, like the desk and the sofa, have gold metal in them also. You can bring more of that lover energy with black furniture and accents. Obviously, wall art is extremely powerful. I mean, look at the sensuality of this painting on this main picture up here. You know, it's like you can't avoid that power, right? You have to really look at it because it calls for your attention, and that's the power of the lover. She's so magnetic that she cannot be missed. She will walk into any room and she will be noticed and she will be seen. And that's the same effect that people feel when they walk into their homes, right? When you walk into the lover's home, you just immediately get that sense of luxury and of just fire, right? So black furniture and accents, obviously dark and red and pink accents for walls or furniture, you know, wall art is really powerful. And dim lighting. Lighting is a wonderful way to bring that mood, right? To create an ambiance of sexy, loving vibes. So using dimmers, using candle lights, using various types of lighting within the same room. I love using 2 to 3 layers of lighting, meaning you can have like a chandelier and a table lamp and maybe a floor lamp in the same room, and just adjust the lights with dimmers and bring them down. And it's important to know that the energy of the lover is also not the traditional sort of sexy energy that the mainstream world has shown us, right? It's really more about the fire, the passionate way to be, that desire to create. So when we channel that in a positive way, we're talking about women who are activists. We are talking about women who are artists, who are dancers, who are priestesses, who are teachers, women who have passion for a cause bigger than themselves. That's also the lover energy in her showing up. So real quick, I'm going to show you different sacred vignettes, which is essentially, they're essentially like groupings of items you can decorate with and create these sort of focal points in your tables or on your any surfaces, on your counters, on your nightstands, or on your dining tables. And the key to creating vignettes, and we're going to go through all the different archetypes and how to make those vignettes for each archetype. But first, it's important to just get a little technical with how you're going to do that, right? So basically, you want to create a gathering where everything that's on that surface you have to love. I am super strict about love everything you have. The mug you have your coffee in, the wine glass you drink out of, your water bottle, your, I don't know, hair tie. Everything you have is adornment. Everything you have should be things that you love. If it's something you don't like, get rid of it. Done. It's like there's no need to even overthink it. You don't love it, you don't have it. So these vignettes have a couple of elements in order to be like really attractive. So something living. I love having fresh flowers or fresh plants in my little vignettes. It doesn't have to be opulent. I love just trimming little greenery from my garden or from the street, or a little flower from outside. Having a tray to gather all these items in. I've talked about this a million times. That's key because it helps you be able to use more little knickknacks, but then they feel like one substantial piece when they're gathered together in a tray. Something personal, something that has a story to you, an inside joke, something you're really excited about, something you bought on a trip. I don't know, something that really tells your story, something quirky, so something that's a little unique, a little bit different. Candles are beautiful for all vignettes. I love candles. They're meant to be lit. Don't just leave them there collecting dust. They're meant to really be about creating rituals. They're really meant to be about intentionality. I love lighting candles at the dining table or the coffee table when I'm about to have like an intentional conversation with my children, whatever it is. And then something with height is also important, so that you have various levels of height in the gathering in the table. And then the one that you can't see here for whatever reason is books. So using books, like stacked books, to give height is also a really, really great way. And then the other aspect of creating sacred vignettes is to mix all the elements: earth, fire, water, metal, wood, and all archetypes for each area of our lives. So I'm going to also walk you through how each archetype has all of these elements in place. And so that's a cool, fun way to bring those energies into your space. Okay? So the lover is all about fire. So the vignette for the lover, to represent the lover, is really all about fire. And I wanted to show you this more muted version of the lover because it doesn't have to be all about red. It doesn't have to be black leather either, or even all velvet. There's subtle ways in which you can express those parts of you that you want to call upon, but maybe they're not that dominant. Maybe you really don't want a red velvet sofa, and that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be that way. This is where you get called to be creative, and this is also where my job comes in place, where I can help you decipher what you want and the intention that you want to create without being so literal, right? And so decorating with the fire element for the lover is about bringing crystals. Crystals like amethysts are super powerful in magnifying that intention, using the silver or gold colors, using candle holders and vases that are in those colors, like you see the two tall candlestick vases here. Those are awesome. Because they give the space height, they call upon that fire element, obviously of the candle, and then they bring in the silver and gold accent. Having fresh flowers adds a ton of luxury: roses, peonies, hydrangeas, these like more sort of luxurious feeling flowers. That's a wonderful way for you to just bring that and honor the lover within you without waiting for anyone to buy you flowers. Just go get your own and make your own sacred ritual to tune into her. And we can talk a ton more about the lover, but I'm going to move forward with the second archetype, the mother. And so the mother archetype is, I would say, the one that in my experience, and Stephanie can also talk to you more about that later on based on her level of expertise. But to me, the lover and the mother are really one in many ways. And it sounds almost controversial in a way, but because they're all about creation, the mother energy is all about gestation and growth and creating, right? And so to me, those two are very intertwined. And the mother is also all about unconditional love and protection. And so here again, if we look at this picture of a mother with her newborn child and that feeling, right? There isn't a more powerful feeling in the world than holding a newborn in your arms. It's like the closest experience to God, in my opinion. Many of you have known my story if you've been following my group and my work for the last few years. And it's that becoming a mother really became my biggest spiritual experience, and my biggest awakening as a human being happened through birth and pregnancy and conscious birth. And home birth was key for me to take my business a completely different route, which is that of sacredness, because giving birth at home was the ultimate sacred experience of my house and of my home. So the mother energy is one that is also extremely alive in my world, and also I would say 90% of the energies I work with my clients because a lot of them are mothers. And even if they are not biological mothers, they are mothers to others. They have that caregiving loving, nurturing, and protection energy towards their brothers, or if they work with like social justice issues, they love, children that they help and that they feed or take care of or do therapy with, whatever it is. But there's a lot of that energy that goes into just helping others, right? And so you can see that these spaces are really all about feeling safe and all about feeling welcome and warm. There's no really like, questioning whether you can sit to just read here or have a cup of tea in these living spaces. There's no like respect of like not being in the space and living in it. Like a lot of more luxurious spaces sort of give that vibe where you're like, okay, this looks amazing, but I don't know if I can sit there. This isn't the case. This is a comforting, welcoming environment. And so because the mother is all about being nourishing and protective and heart-centered and compassionate, the mother is all about empathy and developing this sort of muscle of the heart to feel more and be more in tune with the heart and less in tune with logic. So decorating for this archetype and to bring this energy is really all about decorating with natural elements, right? Decorating with wood tones and flowers, a lot of greenery, a lot of plants, a lot of woods and warm colors. There's a lot of cozy textiles, right? Using real linen and cotton, using like just yummy, comforting pieces, pillows and throw blankets. It's also about lighting. It's also about presence. So I like to say that when we're decorating with the mother archetype is about scale. So you'll see that the furniture might be a little chunkier and the pillows are a little bit extra fluffy and the lamps are extra chunky. So are the vases. These are elements you can see in these images alone, right? It's about dressing in a comfortable way and dressing in a way that makes you feel in charge also too, right? Because the mother is also a leader. She's the ultimate leader and the ultimate teacher. It's just that her leadership and her teaching is extremely graceful and it's extremely loving and it's very powerful and also very magnetic like the lover, but it comes across in a much more gentle way, in a much more gentle package, right? So that's about the mother, and the element of the mother, it's earth. So earth is all about feeling grounded, it's all about feeling safe, it's all about being protected, right? It's an opportunity to also just feel like when you walk into the space, it's like hugging you, right? It's all about feeling extremely welcoming and like it's a big hug. So decorating for this, creating vignettes for this archetype is really something that you can do with crystals like rose quartz crystals. Using gold is also another way to just bring a little bit more warmth. It's just that the gold has a more of a brassy tone to it. It's not a very modern blingy gold. It's more of a brassy, rustic, a little bit rustic sort of a feeling. Gold or ceramic candle holders or vases, fresh flowers again, live plants, greenery, pottery. Pottery is a wonderful way to bring in the earth element. Ceramics, whether it's bowls or trays or even lamps that are ceramic and pottery are wonderful ways. You can see here too how the colors are much more soft and muted, right? It's more about neutrals and it's more about having pops of color here and there, but there's a harmonious sort of peaceful way to all elements being around the same color. So those wood tones, almost like that farmhouse look that is very popular right now, that's a wonderful way to bring in some mother archetype energy into the space. The beads here to me are also about that devotion aspect of the mother. The mother is devoted. She is a firm believer on, values and her principles as a mother, what she wants to bring the world, what she wants to contribute. And so those beads to me are like a prayer and a devotion sort of symbol. The candle also very present in the mother because it's all about her fire and her passion and her creation and her pride in that. So that's that about the mother. And then the next archetype is the maiden. So the maiden is a much more, I think, a bit challenging to describe, to be honest. Maybe because for me, it's currently the one archetype that I'm still reparenting myself in. It's to me, it's almost like that young teenage part of us. And my teacher, the yoga master of Kundalini Yoga, Yogi Bhajan, he used to always talk about the sort of eternal desire for us to be teenagers and how most of us are so caught up in our teenage years that we like don't mature and don't grow up, right? And so I feel like there's that part of the maiden for myself that it's still like a little rebellious and it's still like needs a lot of cuddling. So that's what I'm working with in case you wanted to get super personal. But anyhow, the maiden is all about youth and it's all about fresh, feeling fresh. It's also like a little bit delicate and there's a certain sense of naivety to it. There's a sense of innocence to it. There's also a sense of blossoming and a sense of growth. Like you're not quite there. Like you're in a space of seeing yourself possibly transform into so many routes, So the maidens, the core is really about subtle, fresh, youthful spaces. But they have a little bit of an expression that's strong, right? They almost want to make a statement, but without yet making a statement, because the maiden is not really yet sure about where she is. And I know that there's some studies that I've done through these workshops and stuff about the archetypes where the maiden growing up from the maiden, can feel very balanced and established. But I feel like for the most part, in my experience, she's just still figuring herself out. So in these interiors, you'll see that fresh, youthful, hopeful, growing energy. She's, like I said, figuring out who she is, but she's also fun and she's playful and she's childlike and she's spontaneous and tender. So decorating with whites is that way to add freshness and youthfulness to the space. Decorating with fun pieces like, the Marilyn Monroe art you see here, or Vogue, or fashion, and it's about almost like starting to really express these new beliefs that you want to have, right? There's a sense of rebelliousness of the maiden where she's like, I'm not gonna just abide by these standards of feminism, right, or patriarchy or whatever it is. She's rebellious about it, but maybe not in a very established way yet. She's just getting cues of what she wants to do with that energy. So decorating with fun pieces like those or also decorating with tender animals, animal wall art, landscapes, really like nourishing beach images, fresh, youthful, tropical landscapes are also another way that the maiden can be represented. You see that like the llamas here, I think they're super beautiful for a youthful space. And the textures are very welcoming, almost like the mother archetype, but they have a little bit more of a pattern. They have a bit more of a linear, geometric sort of style. There's a lot of silver, sometimes also gold in the maiden decor. There's a lot of those nature items or natural materials for items like the swing here, the rattan swing, and the bamboo trays. There's a lot of that natural mother-like energy there too, again, as she parents herself. Light pinks, pastels, mints, blush colors, teals, fresh colors that don't quite feel childish, but they're not also very grown up. They're just sort of in between. Woven accessories, like I mentioned, and animal art. That's another way that we can represent her. She's just like so sweet. Or not, because there's a very dark sad side to the maiden, which we'll get into at a later time. But the element of the maiden is the water, and so water is all about flowing, right? Water is also a big representation of emotionality, right? And that sort of chaotic, hormonal, doesn't really know what's happening in her body and in her mind kind of an energy. We've all sort of been there. Of course, the idea is to bring balance to that as a person, but using the element of water is also a way in which we just learn to accept that we are changing with the moon, that we are still figuring out who we are, that we are growing, that we are feeling beings, we're sensitive, we have pain and grief and happiness, and it changes moment by moment, and that's okay. So decorating with water is something that in Feng Shui we do to just sort of allow the waves to flow. You don't want to overdo it, because the other side of that is just impulsivity and just irrational, crazy woman, right? And that's not necessarily what we're going for either. So creating vignettes with elements that represent the maiden can be done with crystals like smoky quartz, which is a white sort of crystal, and it's really all about protection, and it's also about prayer, it's about hope, it's about faith and what you're creating, the seeds that you're planting as you grow and move forward with a project. Clear glass vases and containers so that you can see the water. Soft bamboo, jute, or rattan trays and baskets are very like soft and just youthful. They're also very much in style right now, and they're pretty much everywhere, and they're really, really beautiful. Fresh flowers in the water is also another beautiful ritual and symbol for these sacred vignettes and sacred altars. So let's move on to this next archetype, the archetype of the huntress. So the archetype of the huntress is really about that independent woman energy. The huntress is all about, just fighter, right? Warrior energy. It's that part of the feminine that is ambitious, that wants what she wants. She's got goals. She's got career in mind. She's got money in mind. Maybe she's hunting for the man she really wants, and she doesn't let go of that. She's very fierce with her values. She's fierce with what she wants. She doesn't take no for an answer. If you tell her no, she'll figure out a way to say yes. She's powerful and really, really determined. And she's got a mind of her own. She's got a program of her own. She's got her own agenda. She's sexy, but not overly sexy. She's focused. She's cool. I really like the huntress energy, and these interiors here, to me, are just great representations of the huntress, because they're very clean. They're very powerful in the sort of intention that they have. So they make a bold statement. They're not subtle, but they're not over the top. So these elements of the huntress that she's expressing are all about independence and ambition. She's competitive. She's assertive, confident. Again, traits of an activist, traits of a business owner, an entrepreneur, traits of women in politics, traits of women in corporate jobs, traits of women looking for relationship in a right way, right? Maybe not in a hustling way, but more of a, fully confident of who I am kind of way. Decorating for her is all about glamour. So there's definitely that sense of glamour and luxury, but it's not quite as opulent. There's metals like gold, silver, copper is a big one for the huntress. But there's also pops of color and a background that is very neutral. So you'll see like this white, beige, and gray color palette happening as the background on the walls. And here you see like this mural that has that sort of faux marble feeling to the back. But she's making her statement with the black accents, and she's got this like cow horn as decor. There's all these gold and copper accents here and there. There's definitely that power of reflection, right? Really being proud of seeing herself. So she has portraits of her, pictures of her as a decorating aspect of her home. She's got mirrors. Here you can see also this artwork. It's like so bold and unapologetic, right? This lamp I'm obsessed about, by the way. It's like this gorgeous, almost like crystal bowl made into a lamp. It's just so exquisite. And this wallpaper, it's like, she's got just like this fierceness to her, She's proud of herself. She doesn't care about what other people think. She's going for it. So decorating with pops of color amongst those neutrals, like this buffet with the blue and the red and blue artwork, the lamp, the orange flowers, the green vases. Look at all the colors in just one small vignette and how much power you can make with that. So thinking of very clean lines and clean main pieces, but then adding very creative, decorative wall art or lamp or accessories to the space. Black and white is a staple of this design. Black and white furniture, black and white walls, black and white decor, rugs, you name it. Very big keys to decorating for her. The element of the huntress is metal. So using metal for the tray that you're going to contain all your items in, or even little bowls, like you can see these bowls are metal and these candle containers are also metal. This accessory here, this decorative item here is also metal. So decorating with that is key for this energy to be expressed. Crystals like shungite or obsidian crystals, they're black and they're all about protection. Silver, gold, metal trays and bowls. Jewelry, she loves decorating with jewelry. I love having little vignettes where I have like a really big, beautiful cuff or a necklace that is just like fierce. Black accessories, inspirational, powerful women. So she can have images of not just herself as decoration, but also of other women. So usually like fashion, celebrities, women who have just paved the way in their determination to do something with their life and to be something for the world. So the key to decorating as a channel of expression for all these archetypes is in embodying these different aspects, right? So really, before you get to start doing these vignettes, which is a great space to start, right? Making just a small little altar that you decorate with to call upon these energies. And then later on, as you work with it deeper, or when you have the right mentorship, designing an entire room with those archetypes in mind is even more powerful. This room is one of my recent projects, and in here we worked with elements of a lot of archetypes that were really kind of just even unnecessary to talk about. If you met my client, you would just see that she embodies the archetypes we're trying to portray here. And those archetypes are of the lover and of the mother, very big lover and mother. And then there's a lot of huntress element in here as well. This is someone who is successful, who is confident, who is bold and proud of the work that she does. She's a single mother. She takes care of her child. She is empathetic, has that mother energy, but was also really fierce when we first started working together in attracting love into her life and attracting the right partner for her and her daughter to, be a part of that experience as well. And it's been fascinating to just watch her transform her life through her commitment to that and through my help in the practices, in the breath practices, and the embodiment practices, but also in creating this sacred altar and sacred space for her. So I hope that this is as exciting to you as it's been for me. I'm going to leave you with that because next week we're going to cover other archetypes. We're going to go through the queen, the mystic, and the sage. And to me, that's like the next level, right? These are the archetypes that just bring so much wisdom to the table. And then I also want to go a little bit into the dark sides of these archetypes and embodiment and, what they mean, what they represent. And I want to make sure that Stephanie's joining us on the 6th. I know she's here on the live and just being a part of our sharing and of our training. And I'm going to make sure that I answer all of your comments and everyone else's comments as you watch the video and you go through the replay also if you're not yet on. But she's going to be here on the 6th. And if you think I'm passionate about this stuff, you don't even know. When you hear her talk about this, you can just see that she exudes the knowledge, that she exudes the ability to work with these light and dark energies within us. And so I'm really excited that she's joining us. Don't miss it. You want to be here for that. Next week, we're going to go through the same process with decorating and describing what the archetypes of the queen, the sage, and the mystic are all about. And then the week after, she'll be here sharing her gifts and sharing her beauty with us. So thank you so much, you guys. I'm so excited about these series. Let me know on the chat box how you felt about this. If you have any questions, again, if you're watching the replay, say hello. Let us know that you watched this. Share it with your friends. Invite them into the group. And let's chat again next week when we dive deeper into these archetypes. Have an amazing day, everyone. Sat Nam.